Now, one thing about when you got a wood stove, you got to feed it. And the only way you can feed it, you got to process wood. I'll show you some of the implements of destruction that you need to be able to process your wood, to be able to burn in your stove, and how to harvest that in the bush. The first item that you'll want to always have is your axe. Now, your axe allows you to chop, it allows you to split wood, it also allows you to pound your stakes. The one thing though you must realize with an axe is that it's very dangerous, and it takes at least a week or 2 weeks of hard work to become proficient using an axe. The other thing, a lot of people feel a hatchet is safer. It actually is more dangerous because of the shorter handle. It's much easier to hit yourself in the knee or the shin. The largest reason for medical evacuation in the Boundary Waters Canoe area every year is because of people being hurt with hatchets. I would say for the average person, you should have at least a 26-inch handle. Anything shorter than that is not as efficient to use or as safe. The second item you'll want is a BOWSAW. There's many different models. You can have the rigid, which are inexpensive and work very well. There's different models of folding BOWSAWs. This happens to be my preferred model. I wouldn't go any shorter than 24-inch blade. Also, I would stay away from your angled BOWSAWs because those are originally what they called rafter saws. And the thing of it is, you only actually are able to use about half the length of the blade when you use one of those BOWSAWs. The one thing that's nice about a BOWSAW, you can use it at night. There's less chance for the learner to become damaged with it compared to the axe. You can process your firewood much more faster and more efficiently than you can with the axe, and it's a necessary item in my opinion for anyone that's burning wood. The third item, which isn't necessary but I found that I like a great deal, is a gear-driven pair of lopper shears. What this gives the user the advantage of is that you can process a large amount of deadfalls up to 1.5 inches in diameter that you normally wouldn't have done. And the nice thing is when you're out in the winter and you've got 2 foot of snow, it's sometimes hard to find dead wood on the ground. But you will have your deadfalls, which are very dry, but if you were going to process them with the saw or with the axe, you wouldn't be that excited about doing it. So this is, I found, a very nice item, and that combined with an old feed bag, I can process at night with my headlamp enough wood for the night within 15 to 20 minutes in darkness. Let's see how this works in the bush. Now we see here, we've got a piece of nice dry dead wood, but if you notice, it's on the ground. The bad thing about it being on the ground, it's going to be damp. It's also completely horizontal, so when the rain falls down, it hits it and it absorbs into the wood. If I had to use it, I'd use it, but I prefer to stay away from it. But now when I look over here, I see the limb over there, the bark is off, it's up in the air, it's a bit of an angle so the water could run off. I know that'll be a good dry piece of fuel wood. When using the BOWSAW, it can damage you because you have extremely sharp teeth that cause a jagged and horrible wound. So most people will use their hand like right here and try to guide it with their knuckle. That is an extremely good opportunity for you to damage yourself. The knowledgeable person takes his hand, puts it on the other side, and then he can also guide his saw. Now if you watch, you want to maybe take a few draw strokes to get her started, but now if I skip out, see, my hand is not going to become damaged. And remember, a BOWSAW blade cuts in both directions. So you hear here, you want to have nice long strokes, and you want to saw, 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 saw. Let the blade do the cutting. Don't put any more pressure than necessary. So now if you want to watch, we'll do a little bit bigger piece. Here's an excellent piece of wood right here. It's a nice size. I probably won't even have to split it. The bark's off it, it's at an angle, it's up off the ground. This will make an excellent fuel wood. Also, Mother Nature has provided me a sawhorse to help stabilize my piece while I'm cutting it. I don't want to go any higher than my chest because you don't want to take the opportunity to get any sawdust into your eye, which will cause much irritation. So, if I go here, there again, I put my hand on the other side, help stabilize my blade, and I go saw, 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 saw. Always remember that. And remember, you're cutting both directions, and you want to do nice, long strokes. See how that sounds the same on either direction? Now, as you notice how my hand here was never in danger of being cut by the blade. Whereas if I put my hand here, if that skips out, there's an awful good chance I could become damaged. As you can see, you can process quite a bit of wood quite rapidly once you get your technique perfected on how to use the BOWSAW. And as you can see, those are perfect stove-sized wood. Using the BOWSAW in reverse, which is an excellent way to process your much smaller wood. What you do, you find a place to kind of lock it in place. And then you just take it's much easier, much more efficient than trying to hold it and do the same thing. As you can see, how fast we could process that wood. Now here I want to show you the advantages of using the lopping shear. As you can see how rapid a person can process, especially on your smaller stoves or like when during your winter use, how rapidly you can process your wood. As you can see, it's much faster than the BOWSAW, but this is about the maximum you can do. About 1.5 inches. But you can see how rapidly that was done. Especially at night, come in late, it's in the winter. It's nice when you go out and process all your wood for the night within 15 to 20 minutes with just a headlamp. Now I'm going to show you here how you can see how much more efficient the saw is compared to the axe for processing your pieces of firewood. As you can see, the saw is much easier and faster.